Today, we're taking a deep dive into a topic that maybe at first glance you might think, oh boy, ethics and values, is this really necessary? We're talking about how they actually mandate advocacy for social justice. But hang on, because it's not just necessary, it's absolutely crucial, especially when you think about the challenges social workers face.
That's right. And our focus here in this deep dive is really to unpack how the Social Work Code of Ethics applies directly to advocacy. We're also going to look at the pretty firm mandates the Council on Social Work Education has, specifically about advocacy learning for students. It's quite a powerful combination.
So our mission then is to explore these two key documents, the ones that really show why every social work student, every practitioner has to be familiar with social justice advocacy. And beyond just the rules, we want to get into the philosophical underpinnings, how the profession itself sees social justice. It's about the why, not just the what. Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. You might be wondering, what exactly are these mandates, these ethical requirements that make advocacy so fundamental in social work?
Well, what's fascinating is how clearly defined they are. The first key document, it comes from the Council on Social Work Education, the CSWE. And you have to remember, the CSWE isn't just anybody. It's the National Accrediting Agency for Social Work Education here in the U.S. They basically set the standard for what competent social work practice even is. And their accreditation standard, Competency 5, it sets a very strong position. It actually mandates that all students graduating from an accredited program will be able to engage in policy practice.
All students, wow.
Yes, it's not just a suggestion, it's a foundational requirement. Because think about it, without this competency, social workers might be, kind of disarmed in really important policy talks. It could create a gap between their client work and making systemic change happen.
That really sets a strong precedent from the education side. So how does the National Association of Social Workers, the NASW, fit into this? Do they just echo that, or do they add something else, like a specific ethical angle?
Yeah, that's a great connection. So the NAW, being the largest membership group, they essentially set the ethical compass for the whole profession. And their code of ethics, it has several elements that point really explicitly to the ethical need for social workers to do advocacy work for social justice.
Oh,
So when CSWE says you must learn how to engage in policy,
right.
The NSW's ethics code basically says you must do it. It's tied right into core values like social justice, human dignity. It becomes an ethical imperative.
An ethical imperative, not just you should know how.
Exactly. It moves beyond just skill into professional duty.
Okay, that sounds pretty clear-cut, an educational mandate and an ethical imperative. But, in the real world, where do social workers bump up against resistance when they try to actually do this advocacy? And how does understanding the philosophy behind it all, like the different ways people even define social justice, how does that help? Our sources mention these different versions of social justice. Why dig into that?
That's a really important practical question. Understanding those different versions of what people say social justice is critical. It helps you grasp the specific way the social work profession itself understands social justice, which might be different from other views.
How so? Like, what are some examples?
Well, for instance, some people might define social justice purely as, say, equality of opportunity. Just removing barriers so everyone technically starts at the same place. Others might focus more on equality of outcome, arguing we need interventions because historical disadvantages mean people don't start equally. They need help to reach equitable results.
Okay, so different starting points lead to different ideas of fairness.
Precisely. And the social work profession historically has tended to lean towards a view that recognizes systemic barriers need active work. An equity focus. Knowing this nuance is vital when you're talking to maybe a legislator whose whole framework is purely about economic opportunity, maybe ignoring systemic issues. That understanding of the profession stance, it's what sustains you in those conversations with people who, just don't see it the same way.
That makes it really practical for you, the listener.
Yeah.
So why is having this clear grasp of the profession-specific view so important? Who are these discussions really with? Is it just, debating friends or family?
Definitely not just casual chats, though those happen too. Our source jokes about not just talking to Uncle Chad and Aunt Karen.
Yeah, right.
No, we're really talking about engaging with elected and appointed officials, the people who actually make decisions that impact social workers and the people they serve.
Decision makers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Those are the individuals social workers often need to engage with, advocating for policies, for funding, for programs. So
Hmm.
having that firm grasp of the profession's ethical stance and being able to clearly articulate that specific vision of justice, it's absolutely vital for those high stakes interactions.
Okay, but facing those kinds of intense discussions, maybe with officials who have really different viewpoints, I mean, how does a social worker find the strength? It sounds like it could be incredibly draining, potentially demoralizing.
And it can be, absolutely. This is precisely where the values of social workers become so important. Think about it. Maybe you're advocating for, say, a new homeless shelter,
Hmm.
and you're facing intense community opposition, that not in my backyard or NMBUism thing.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Right. It's those core professional values, the belief in the inherent dignity and worth of every single person, the commitment to service, the absolute pursuit of social justice. Those are what give you strength when the going gets tough. They provide the foundation, the conviction you need to keep pushing, to make progress even when it's hard. It helps prevent burnout and keeps you focused on why you're doing it.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening? What we've really unpacked today is how these powerful ethical and educational foundations don't just, suggest advocacy for social workers, they actually compel it. And importantly, their own deeply held professional values become this critical source of strength for navigating the real world, especially when things get challenging.
Exactly. The importance of these mandates from CSWE and the ethical imperatives from NASDAFW, they really can't be overstated. They ground the profession in a clear understanding of social justice, which is just essential when you're engaging with decision makers, especially those who might see things very differently. It's the bedrock for driving change.
So, given everything we've explored about this ethical imperative for advocacy, not just in social work, but maybe in any field that's driven by strong values, here's something to think about. What does it mean for you to be able to clearly articulate and stand by your own understanding of justice or impact or whatever your core mission is, especially when things get tough and you find yourself engaging with people who hold the power to make decisions? How might your own values empower you in those moments?